There is a kind of silence that only comes when life falls apart. It is the silence you feel when you look at your situation and realize that what you once depended on is no longer there. The relationship ended. The opportunity disappeared. The money ran out. The dream collapsed. The door you prayed would open stayed closed. And in that painful place, the enemy often whispers one dangerous lie: God has abandoned you. But what if the loss was not proof that God left you? What if the loss was actually the beginning of God rebuilding you? What if what felt like destruction was really preparation? Sometimes God allows things to be stripped away, not because He wants to destroy you, but because He is making room for something greater than what you were holding on to. Here is the truth many people do not understand. God cannot fill hands that are tightly holding the wrong things. Sometimes we hold on to comfort when God is calling us into courage. Sometimes we hold on to people who are draining our spirit. Sometimes we hold on to a version of ourselves that cannot carry the future God is preparing. So God begins to clear the space. And yes, it hurts. It hurts to lose what you prayed for. It hurts to watch something fall apart after you worked so hard to build it. It hurts to say goodbye to a season you thought would last forever. But loss in God's hands is not wasted. Think about the widow in 2 Kings. She had lost her husband. She was in debt. Her sons were at risk of being taken away. Her situation looked hopeless. When the prophet asked her what she had in her house, she said nothing except a small jar of oil. She thought she had almost nothing, but God saw enough for a miracle. The miracle did not begin with abundance. It began with emptiness. God told her to gather empty vessels, not full vessels, empty ones. And when she obeyed, the little oil she had kept pouring until every vessel was filled. Her emptiness became the place where God revealed His provision. That is how God works. He can take what looks small and multiply it. He can take what looks empty and fill it. He can take what looks finished and turn it into a testimony. So when your hands feel empty, do not assume your story is over. Empty hands may be the very place where God is about to pour something new. Sometimes God allows a season to collapse because the foundation was not strong enough for your future. Jesus spoke about two houses. One was built on sand and one was built on rock. The storm came to both. The same wind, the same rain, the same pressure, but only one house remained standing. When God allows certain things to fall apart, He may be exposing the sand beneath them. A relationship built on fear, a dream built on pride, a lifestyle built on pressure, a plan built on your own strength instead of His wisdom. God does not expose the foundation to shame you. He exposes it to save you, because He loves you too much to let you build a great future on a weak foundation. Sometimes the collapse is mercy. Sometimes the closed door is protection. Sometimes the loss is God saying, "This cannot go with you into the next season." Look at Job. Job did not lose something small. He lost almost everything. His children, his wealth, his health, his reputation, and his comfort were all shaken. He sat in ashes, surrounded by grief, confusion, and pain. If anyone had a reason to give up, it was Job. But in the middle of his suffering, Job still worshipped. He did not understand why everything had happened, but he still knew who God was. That is real faith. Faith is not only praising God when life is easy. Faith is trusting God when you cannot explain the pain. Faith is saying, "I do not understand this, but I still believe God is good." The enemy expected Job to curse God, but Job's worship in the ashes became a weapon. When you can worship God in the middle of loss, you prove that your faith was never built only on what God gave you. It was built on who God is. Job's story did not end in the ashes. His loss was not the final chapter. God restored him. But God did not simply return him to the same place. God gave him a new chapter, greater wisdom, deeper strength, and a testimony that would speak for generations. That is what God can do with a broken life. He does not just repair, he restores. He does not just replace, he rebuilds. He does not just bring you back, he brings you forward. So what happens after everything falls apart? First, your dependence shifts. When the things you trusted begin to shake, you discover whether your faith was truly resting in God or in temporary things. Sometimes we say God is our source, but deep down we are depending on people, income, approval, opportunities, status, or control. Then life changes. Something disappears. A door closes. A person walks away. A plan fails. And suddenly we realize that only God is steady. This is not easy, but it is powerful. Because when God becomes your true foundation, you develop a strength that cannot be taken away. Second, your vision becomes clearer. Loss has a way of separating what matters from what does not. When everything is comfortable, it is easy to get distracted. We chase approval. We waste energy on things that do not matter. We hold grudges. We compare ourselves. We try to impress people. But when life is stripped down, your priorities change. You begin to see what is real. You begin to value peace. You begin to appreciate grace. You begin to focus on purpose. You begin to understand that some things you once chased were never worth your soul. Pain can sharpen vision. The fire does not only burn, sometimes it purifies. Third, God begins to rebuild. But the rebuilding may not look like what you expected. Sometimes we ask God to give us the old life back, but God may be preparing something better than the old life, a better foundation, a stronger faith, a wiser heart, a deeper relationship with Him, a cleaner circle, a clearer purpose, a more peaceful spirit. When God restores, He does not always restore the same thing in the same way. Sometimes He gives you something new, and the new thing carries lessons the old version of you could not have understood. After loss, you walk differently, you pray differently, you love differently, you choose differently, you trust differently. You no longer fear the same things because you know what it feels like to survive what you thought would destroy you. That kind of faith is powerful. The enemy cannot easily intimidate someone who has already been through the fire and still believes God is good. So if you are in a season where your hands feel empty, listen closely. Your emptiness is not evidence that God has forgotten you. Your empty hands may be space for a new blessing. Your broken heart may be the place where God begins deep healing. Your closed door may be protection from something you cannot see. Your loss may be the beginning of a divine reset. This is not the end. This is the rebuilding. This is where God takes the pieces and creates something that brings Him glory. This is where God teaches you that your life is not held together by people, money, success, or control. Your life is held together by His hand. You may have lost something valuable, but you have not lost God. And if you still have God, you still have hope. So do not curse the season. Do not give up in the ashes. Do not believe the lie that nothing good can come from this. God is still working. He is working in the silence. He is working in the waiting. He is working in the breaking. He is working in the rebuilding. One day, you may look back and realize that what you thought was the end was actually the doorway into something greater. The empty season was not punishment, it was preparation. The loss was not the final chapter, it was the turning point. And the same God who allowed the shaking is the same God who can restore, rebuild, and raise you again. So lift your head. Your story is not over. Your hands may feel empty, but God still knows how to fill them. Your heart may feel broken, but God still knows how to heal it. Your life may feel scattered, but God still knows how to rebuild it. This is not the end. God is rebuilding you. If this message speaks to your heart, type "God is rebuilding me" in the comments. Like this video if you believe God can restore what was broken. Subscribe for more faith-filled messages, biblical encouragement, and spiritual wisdom for difficult seasons. And share this with someone who feels like they have lost everything and needs to know that God has not forgotten them. Thank you for watching.